name is Lindley Jones. I'm the Children's Ministry Director at Asbury United Methodist Church in Lafayette, Louisiana. And when I started in ministry, I inherited about 36 kids who attended regularly from 0 to 6th grade. We had about 60 on the books. So we had teachers that were late or didn't show up at all, and there was no plan from week to week for curriculum or any kind of education. And so what we did, or what I decided to do, was gather a few faithful people, and we decided to throw every single thing out and start over. So when we launched in October, well, by the time January came around, we had tripled our numbers, and now we have about 140 attending regularly. That's out of 196 kids who are on the books. And so that's a 74% average, and the national average for attendance is about 40. And so that number, the number that you need to focus on to find out whether or not your Sunday school is irresistible to kids and parents, is the ones that are coming back week to week, not the total on your books. Remember, we had one goal: to make Sunday school irresistible. But what does irresistible mean? Well, something is irresistible if it's too attractive or too tempting to be resisted, or it's too powerful or too convincing to be resisted. And so tempting, powerful, attractive, and convincing, do those words sound like your Sunday school program? So being irresistible also has two parts. Did you hear it? Attractive and tempting. That is what it looks like to kids. For kids, you have to attract them and tempt them. But the other part of the definition, powerful and convincing, that's for the parents. So at the same time we're making Sunday school tempting and attractive for kids, we have to make it powerful and convincing for the parents. So now that we know what irresistible is, how do you make something irresistible? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is don't worry about curriculum. Don't give it a thought. What you need to do first and foremost is environment. You can tell by the package that is shiny. Kids are going to want that. It is all about the environment, the atmosphere, and fun. Now for parents, not so much environment and atmosphere, more about consistency, relevancy, and character building that you'll build into the Sunday school program. But let's talk about kids first. Environment. So you want to pay attention to the physical space. If your space is awful, it won't matter what you're teaching. So do they have room to move? Is there light? Is it clean? How's the noise? And is it welcoming? The physical environment of a children's ministry area is very important. So it's one of the top factors that we found made our ministry grow. Great facilities can make children's ministry seem very great, but subpar facilities, you can have a great program and it just won't matter. So your facilities make a statement to parents, and then make a statement about kids. We care about you. So your entrance should be exciting. You shouldn't have posters on the wall from 1932. Also, everything about your building should scream kids. And we're going to talk about what to do if you're in a building that you share or that your trustee says don't touch anything. But first, just look at the space you have through the eyes of a kid. Better yet, bring a kid with you and make them point out all of the boring and plain, for example, beige walls that might be, not attractive to a kid. You want a check-in area, that's going to be for parents, that's convincing them that you're keeping them safe. But you also want an area that says, hey kids, stop here and check in. You want to make sure you add color. It doesn't have to be a lot of color. It could be one wall. It could be the signs you use in your classroom. You also want to make sure, if you do have a sign, that it is current, that it's not torn at the edges, taped up with tape. Because no matter your church size or budget, you can do something to create an environment for kids. And with an environment that's engaging to kids when they get there, then you can work on the second thing that's really important. That's atmosphere. And so when a kid enters a school building on Monday morning. They usually walk down a hall, right? And they go into a classroom and they sit with a group of kids. So you can imagine if they've had fun all day Saturday, that what they do not want to do on Sunday is walk down a hall and sit in a classroom with the same group of kids. And so you might not be able to control the paint colors, the room size, but what you can control is the atmosphere they're entering. And so how we did it at Asbury, which I think is the number one thing that changed the way kids saw us, is that we created a gathering spot. What that means is if you're in an area that has more than one school, or you have kids in 1st through 6th grade, but not a lot of them, and you send them to separate rooms, what we wanted to do is make them hang out together to create family first. And so we used a room, and when I first started, we just used the chapel and 2 beach balls and some music on a jam box. And as we grew, we added cooperative playthings like Legos on a table, sand that they could play around, magnets on an oil pan sheet. What happened? We started noticing that not only did the kids talk to each other and hang out, but they also encouraged their parents to come see, come look, come see what we get to do. Then we added other things like Mario Kart, where they could challenge each other and play. And so now we find that the loft, the place where the kids hang out before Sunday school, is also where the parents will meet. And it's created this environment where by the time we sit them down to actually listen to a lesson, they're cool because they spent energy and they're engaged in where they are and who they're with. So it's a lot easier to teach them. All right. So another thing we do with the atmosphere is to have the rooms already prepared when they get there. And so it doesn't take a lot of work, but if you're running around on Sunday mornings trying to make copies and get supplies together, you're already late. So if you take time to set the rooms up before the kids get there, so that when they walk in, they say, oh, wow, they want me here. The parents also go, wow, they're prepared for my child. It changes the atmosphere of the building and it changes the atmosphere of where you are. And that's a welcoming feeling for kids. And if you are prepared in advance, then you don't have to spend time running around. You can actually chat with kids, do some holy listening to their pets and their social studies fair wins. And so it's really important to do that. And so what we started to do when we decided we were going to make our atmosphere irresistible is we started kind of like this. What are they going to see when they enter? What are they going to hear? What are they going to smell? What are they going to touch? And all of that goes into the bigger picture that they can't really define, but they know that they're wanted. And so what do we want the child to experience? And so another thing that we tried to do was to pick a logo that people could see and understand. And so you can't beat the cross and flame. So if you have a Sunday school program that's called Verb or Live Out Loud, that's great, except for it doesn't say anything. So Asbury Children's Ministry is our logo, and it's what we put on everything. And when a parent sees that, they know that it's us. The other thing we do is uniforms. We picked a color every year, and we put our volunteers, our servant leaders, in a t-shirt that does 2 things. One is tell parents this is a safe person, and number 2, it builds a team. I mean, pretty soon I'm having people, how do I get a shirt? I want a shirt. What do I have to do to get a shirt? And so what the shirts do is create this atmosphere where the kids know who's in charge, and it also kind of builds an excitement that we are thought out and prepared and planned. And so it enhances that team mentality. I have this shirt. I have a responsibility to these kids and this program. But if you are space shy or you share a space, again, all you need are a few balloons on the floor, throw some Legos down, a beach ball, and some jam box, and you're ready to go. And so what you don't want to do is run to your pastor with 15 different ideas 15 different times. You want to sit with your group and think, how can I make this program attractive and tempting with my environment and my atmosphere? And then how can I make it powerful and convincing? And when you decide what those things are going to be, then you go with the one-shot package to your pastor. So don't forget to think like a kid. The music, what they hear is going to be important. How you deliver your lesson is going to be important. Every single detail that I plan out on a Sunday from when I get out of my car is going to be, how do I make this irresistible to where they have to come back? I'm going to tell you the third thing is fun. I don't know any kid that comes to our Sunday school program that doesn't think it's fun. And how you can gauge if it's fun is if they come back after a slumber party and bring their slumber party kids with them, or if they are late to a soccer game because they want to be here. And they want to be here because it is fun. And so a lot of times people say, oh, all you're doing is entertaining kids. Or the parents who ask, did you have fun today, are shallow. But what I'm going to tell you is, hey, if it's not fun, they won't come. And so make sure there's lots of laughter in the hallways. Let them be loud, if they can, in your facility. Let them run. Let them play tag. Because if they don't come, you can't teach them. And so planning loads of fun into what you do for activities should be important. We have something called a sweet seat, to where if a child answers something theologically profound, they get to sit in the seat until somebody, this is it right here, bounces them out. And so what you want to do is make sure you think like a child, and what does it take to keep a child entertained? About every 7 seconds or 10 seconds, you have to switch on them, either visually, volume, or the curriculum needs to be flexible enough for you to add things in there that are popular in your hometown, like Pokemon Go, TV shows, Lego bricks, anything like that. But if you think about it, if a child says, hey, Mom, Dad, Grandma, I want to go to Sunday school because I have fun, then if you add the irresistible Word of God to the fun, then you've got an irresistible program that both the kids and the parents will buy into. So look for creative ways to let the parents in on what you're doing. So I try to write 10 letters a week. Either I saw that you got new glasses, or hey, you answered in a way that Coach hadn't thought about. I say congratulations, thanks for helping serve. Whatever I can think of to touch that family and that child is kind of a top priority. Because parents don't get the truth from their kids. They get, yes, I had fun, but they don't really know until you help the parents discern what was going on with the brain. For example, if the lesson is fear and you use sharks, then that's natural. And so you won't know what the child got from that until the parent understands that they can use what you're teaching at home to help with fear. And that's your job, to train those parents to come to you for help in helping their kids go from Monday to Saturday on what you taught them on Sunday. So parents need to know exactly what powerful and convincing things you're doing with their children so that they'll buy in and bring them as well. So the good news is it's not too late. God is the God of creativity and persistence. So if you stick with it and you're not afraid to try and fail, because we have failed many a times, so many things that we tried on Sunday didn't work, and so we switched them by the next Sunday. That's another key. Be flexible. What works today won't work tomorrow, and it surely won't work in 3 months. So make sure you're always kind of flexible and willing to be led by the Spirit in what changes you need to do to the program, because it's not your program, it's God's program. And so every single part of what happens on Sunday should be irresistible to both those kids and their parents. Attractive, tempting, powerful, and convincing. So get to work. Thank you.